Hey everyone, this is the second to last week of the CYA series, and I'm going to talk about the last expense we're going to cover, which are repairs and maintenance. Now, there are three types of repairs you need to be aware of. There are the past repairs that should have been done by the current owner. There's the ongoing repairs you're going to have to do while you own the property, and there are future repairs you need to account for in your numbers before you underwrite and close on a deal. Now, relative to the past expenses, those are your deferred maintenance. A brand new property, you should be in pretty good shape, but older properties, they probably have some deferred maintenance. Maybe the owner was anticipating selling anyway, so they didn't want to go through the expense of fixing roofs or paving parking lots. So make sure you get a good property inspector and figure out exactly what those deferred maintenance items are, especially on the big ticket numbers, because that's going to add to your basis right away. So don't go underwriting to a 7% cap rate when you make an offer only to find out that's going to be a 6.5 cap on the basis once you get it up and running, because you're not going to get additional revenue from those expenses, but you're going to protect your collateral. Ongoing expenses are what you typically think of on a repair and maintenance. You're going to see 5% or $500 per unit or whatever the selling agent's throwing in there. Check it with historical, make sure it makes sense. Consider the fact that the age of the property, the amenities of the property, whether it's real HVAC and central air or window units, is going to affect what your repair and maintenance number is. Look at it as a property specific number, compare it to what they've been spending in the past. Make sure that the past repair and maintenance numbers are accurate and they're not classifying real everyday repairs as capital expenses just to remove them. That's the number you're going to have to deal with year over year, just to keep the property churning along and keep your tenants happy. And the third type of repair you have to consider is your future repairs. There's going to be roofs, HVACs, parking, repavement, exterior paint. I'll go into more detail on those in the blog, but what you need to realize is you don't want to run into the end of a useful life during your hold period and have to go do a capital call to investors to fix that. You're better off reserving for those year over year. Now, that's not necessarily going to affect your NOI per se, because more times than not you can treat that as a below line reserve, but it is going to affect your distribution for cash and your cash on cash returns to your investors. So keep an eye on that. You'll see a $250 per unit number. That's probably a pretty decent starting spot for reserve. Just make sure if you see it in a P&L that they're not calling that a turnover reserve, because there's a real reserve for these capital expense items, and the turnover reserve really is just basic repair and maintenance, and that should be included in the repair and maintenance line item, or at least just be an additional one on top of the reserve, because when you have 50% of your tenants leaving year over year, you're going to have to eventually replace carpeting, paint the interiors, change out the refrigerator. There's things you're going to have to do, but that's not really a reserve per se. That's just part of general operations. So don't let somebody call that a reserve. It's not. It's a regular expense. So take a look at whatever P&L you see. Take a look at your property. Really cover yourself with a quality, reputable property inspector. Get a good handle on what the useful life is on all major items. Make sure you're reserving for those properly. And when you make an offer on a property and you need to hit certain cash on cash returns, preferred yields, whatever the case may be, that you're factoring in those upfront costs to do the deferred maintenance, you're factoring in a realistic repair and maintenance line item that you're going to have to spend every year, and you're factoring in your reserve for any of these other items, and you should be in pretty good shape. So keep an eye out for the blog, and I will talk to you next week for the last of the CYA series.